April 7, 1994, the day that an amazing Rwandan couple lost their lives, together with 6 of their 10 children. Before I tell you about their death, let's retrace our steps back to the 1960s. In 1963, the same year that Kenya attained her independence from the British colonialists, a young Rwandan woman known as Saverina Mkaikiro was killed with several members of her family. I don't know the circumstances that led to her death, but I do know that she left behind a distraught fiancé. Cyprien Rugamba couldn't believe that the love of his life had lost her life, that their marriage had died even before it had a chance to live. Cyprien Rugamba was so enamored with his late fiancée, so respectful of her family, that he decided to marry her cousin Dafros Mukansanga. They got married in 1965. He was 30 years old and she was 21 years old. For 17 years, their marriage endured great turbulence. They fought, they separated, they reconciled. She spent hours on her knees, drawing spiritual strength to keep her going. On his part, Cyprien is said to have had a wandering eye that led him into the arms of other women. He also didn't have much faith in God. His wife didn't give up on him though. She continued praying for him and raising their children in godly fashion. In 1982, sickness invaded Cyprien's body with such force that he feared for his life. He even started writing a song about his death. During this trying period, when he was crawling in a valley of sickness, his faith in God was rekindled. He was healed. I don't have more details about his healing, but I do know that he got much better. He didn't die. He later credited his healing on his wife's unceasing prayers for him. From that point onwards, he was a changed man. He sought for forgiveness from his wife. He immersed himself into his art and music. He sought to live life fully in a wholesome way. 8 years after his 1982 healing, on September 23, 1990, Cyprien and Dafrosa founded Emmanuel Community in Rwanda. This community preached and lived unity for all Rwandans, irrespective of their ethnicities. As such, it shone a light of unity on an increasingly ethnically divided nation. Cyprien and Dafrosa believed that all Rwandans were children of the Rwandan nation, children of God. As a well-known public figure, Cyprien championed unity vocally and passionately. He called for the Rwandan government to remove ethnic identification in the national IDs. Tragically, this passionate, vociferous commitment to unity turned him into a leading target when the Rwandan genocide began. On 7th April 1994, the first day of the genocide, Cyprien and his beloved wife Dafrosa, together with 6 of their children, were among the first people to be killed. Cyprien was 59 years old, Dafrosa 50 years old. During the 59 years that he was on earth, Cyprien achieved a lot. He was a once-in-a-generation musician whose songs have a timeless quality to them. They may no longer be known to many Rwandans, leave alone Africans, but they should be. He was also a poet and writer and choreographer. In addition, he helped to establish the Rwandan Cultural Center that focused on preserving and creating traditional Rwandan art. Some have said that he was Africa's Michelangelo, but I say that if he had lived in today's generation, Michelangelo will have been Italy's Cyprien. We need to lift the veil of Cyprien's work so that the world can know it and celebrate it. The same applies to dozens of other amazing African artists from the past and the present. Dafrosa, oh Dafrosa, she wasn't just Cyprien's wife or just a mother of 10 children. She was a strong, amazing, and spectacular African woman. She started a charity for supporting street children and made a lasting difference in their lives. There would be no Cyprian without Afrosa, just as there would be no Afrosa without Cyprian. Isn't that equality? We should never forget Cyprian and Afrosa. They may have disappeared from the shores of this earth 28 years ago on April 7th, 1994, but the powerful waves of their unity message continue splashing into our lives. Their message of true unity still resonates not just for Rwanda, but for Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Tunisia, and the rest of Africa. As I wrote in one of my poems, a lone star's twinkle cannot light up a dark sky, but when many stars twinkle together, they conquer even the darkest of nights.